we're talking about free agents today. It's July 1st. Well, not exactly, but hey, we're still excited for it. Players are on the move. It's basically the better version of trade deadline day. So many names to get to, so many places are going to look different next year. Of course, it's World Hockey Report. Cody Jansen, Adam Ermentrout with you here. It is October 9th. It's a Friday. It's beautiful outside. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and we are ready to talk hockey. Show brought to you by mybookie.ag. Of course, use promo code 12OZ when signing up. 12OZ Sports, that is. MyBookie.ag, promo code 12OZ Sports. Brought to you by Verberowitz Nutrition Performance, Coco Vodka and Coco Rum, Zingo TV, 2D Wraps, Tub Masks. Got to thank all of those sponsors. All right, today on the show, we got Free Agent Frenzy. We'll kick that off. 10:20 NHL Draft. Let's recap that. And then 10:40. Open line. We want to hear from you when we open up those phone lines. What are you thinking? Are you happy with your team? Are you pissed off with your team? Anything goes. 10:40. We're going to open up those phone lines. Starting it off, free agent friendly. This coming in right now from Elliot Friedman. No Ekman-Larson deal by his set trade deadline. He said, hey, I want to be moved by noon on Friday or I'm staying. Looks like Arizona, I don't want to call it handcuffed by the OEL deal, but they couldn't get something done, and I kind of feel Arizona wasn't really willing to give them up for cheap, and Vancouver and Boston knew that they had leeway because Arizona still wanted to dump his cap. We'll bring on Adam Ermentrout here from the great province of Saskatchewan. Free agent frenzy. Adam, who do you think is going to make the biggest shakeup?
Well, we already got a couple signings with Kubalik extending in Chicago 2 years, 3.7 a year, and
what
Wayne
a deal.
Simmons going to Toronto, and then Chicago also capped Malcolm Subban for 2 years at an $850 cap. Biggest splash, I think it'll be Columbus. They were shedding cap space all over the place yesterday, and it seems like that they'd be in on a Taylor Hall or something like that, or maybe a Line, who knows. I think Columbus and Florida's like a stealth team, it seems like, with what they've been doing.
Yeah, they're pretty good at wasting money at free agent day.
Yeah, last year didn't work out too well for them.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of moves, a ton of shakeups. I mean, Columbus, they made some moves there. They shed some cap space. Do you think that maybe they're going in on Pietrangelo? Do you think that maybe there's a chance they sign there if they go, hey, here's 7 by, I don't even know, like 8? Like, there's a chance that they've got a good core already where they're a solid defensive team. Honestly, they push Tampa Bay just about as much as anyone else. I mean, you can put them up there with how much Dallas pushed them. If they win that 5 overtime game, we're talking about a completely different playoffs here. So Columbus isn't as far out as people think. But I mean, if they had a piece like Pietrangelo on the back end, Pietrangelo, whatever, kind of partner him up, you got a 1-2 with him and Seth Jones. Are you kidding me? They could have one of the best D groups in the league.
Yeah, I don't really think so on that one, just because they already have like the 2 of the top 10 defensemen in the league, and they really struggled to score last year. So I think that was an issue. Oh, Tyler Johnson just got placed on waivers. Okay. So there's that. I don't think Columbus would be in on him, but Taylor Hall, they obviously made the Max Domi trade, which should make them a little more offensively gifted. And then I guess Winnipeg made the trade this morning too for Paul Stastny.
What's your thoughts on that Stastny deal? Because he did not impress me one bit in Vegas.
I don't know. Like, he had it great in Winnipeg when he got traded there at the deadline, and then he put up 15 points in 17 playoff games when they went on their run there, and really had chemistry with Laine and Ehlers. And now he went to Vegas, chased. I think he had the same offer in Winnipeg, but chased some weather and no taxes. And I don't know. I think he was maybe put into too much of a role in Vegas. they don't really have much centerman, so they're just kind of seeing what's stuck. But he goes back to Winnipeg. He's a little older now, but I like it for Winnipeg just because he seems like the pro that would fit in with Scheifele and Wheeler and those guys.
Well, you kind of have to expect him to be put in a role if he's making, what, $5 million? Something like that? It's kind of expected.
6.5 for another year.
6.5? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's interesting one, to say the least. Oh yeah, Wayne Simmons' deal is finalized. He's going to his hometown, 1-year deal, $1.5 million right there, full no movement clause. Tyler Johnson on waivers, though, Adam. We kind of breezed right past that. What's like? Is this Tampa just hoping that someone picks up his contract? Because they I feel like at this point teams are trying to kind of not use the cap against Tampa, but they're not going to do him any favors. So was this kind of the league saying, hey, no, we're not taking him off your hands. You either have to buy this guy out and kind of handicap yourself a little bit with the cap situation, or what?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he's got 4 years left at $5 million a year, so I don't know what the deal is, but at the same time, like, you can't really be worried about helping out Tampa, especially if you're a team in the West who sees them twice a year. Like when are you going to be worried about them facing them in the Cup final? Well, if you get to the Cup final, your team's probably good enough that like it shouldn't matter if you help Tampa out or not, right?
That's fair. I would just say for the majority of the league, like no one was going to do Arizona any favorites with the whole OEL thing. No one's going to be like, oh yeah, we'll take his full cap hit, plus we'll give you a couple of assets. Like, no, these GMs are smarter than that. Still competition.
Yeah, and I guess the thing with Johnson too is he can get claimed by somebody who wasn't on his no trade list now. So them putting him on waivers kind of cancels out his no trade list.
Interesting right there. Alrighty, let's kind of start to go down the board here, and I want your thoughts on where a couple of people are going to end up, because it's a very goalie heavy free agency, I would say, but there's also a lot of key pieces. Like, guys don't realize how big of a difference a Torrey Krug is going to make on a team. I really think, Krug, Hall, Toffoli, Pietrangelo, Brody, Hoffman, there's some solid players out there going to free agency. And so when you look at this board, I mean, obviously at the top is going to be a Pietrangelo. I mean, this is a captain, Stanley Cup winner. I don't know if you want to go with the top 10 D-man in the league. He's probably up there, probably top 15, give him that. Like, where does he end up, and who can offer him what he wants?
There seems to be a lot of smoke around Vegas, but Vegas is the only team I could maybe see. But even them, I guess they shedded $6 million with Stastny, but they also added about 2.5 on Stevenson. So I don't know. They have to move Fleury if they want to get that done. He could go back to St. Louis, but now he can't even sign an 8-year deal. So him getting to the market doesn't mean it kind of cancels out that last year for him. I don't know. You want to think Toronto would be in there, but I don't know how half these teams make it work.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of moving parts. I think Toronto's a front runner just because it's been talked about so much. It's either Toronto or St. Louis. Either he'll stick around and kind of milk the most out of St. Louis, or he's going to the market of his choice, and that's probably Toronto. What about Torrey Krug? Because this is another interesting piece who has been, I don't know, it seems like Boston doesn't want to pay Krug, but they thought about paying OEL. Seemed like a little bit of an interesting deal. Maybe Krug doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they offered him kind of a joke of a deal, 6 years at 6.5 a year, and that's kind of the Boston way with, I don't know if, I think we're asking Krejci, their highest paid guys, but Pasternak and Marchand and Bergeron make it combine 19 mil or something like that. So I don't know.
That's how they win, though. That's how they win, is they get guys on these friendly deals who are willing to take it, and that's how you build a deep team. They've proven it in the past, and so they're pretty much telling Krug, hey, if you want to keep winning, this is the type of deal that you're going to have to accept. If not, well, we're probably going to have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, and I mean it's the player's right to go and get paid. The only thing with Boston is if I'm like whatever Marchand and I sign that contract and then I see them sign Matt Bolesky at 4 years at 16 million, I'm probably not going to be too happy. But yeah, like once again, Vegas is going to do something. Whether they miss out on Pietrangelo, Krug could be an option for them. I really don't know because there's so many teams that are just so tight. Like who can fit in 7 million, right?
Well, I think of a team like Columbus right there that also comes to mind. I also think of a team who is hoping to use the most out of what would likely be a 6-7 year deal for a Torrey Krug. And you think of a team like LA maybe that comes to mind. Obviously, they're going to have to do some shuffling to fit him in, but who can use a young D-man where I feel like Krug also wants a bigger role. So going somewhere where he's going to be a top pairing D-man is that case. And so I get it. LA's already got their hands full with the cap situation right now. But I think a team like LA, if they can, work him in at, let's say, 7.5, does that seem like, I feel like if someone's offering him 7.5, he's got to take it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given. 7.5 you'd have to take for sure.
Okay, moving along, Taylor Hall. You already said Columbus. That does make sense. But let me ask you this. Do you not think him and John Tortorella would just hate each other's guts before the preseason starts?
Yeah, probably, like, maybe. It's tough with Tortorella. Like, him and Max Domi, I think they're either going to hate each other or be best friends because Max has some fire to his game and sometimes he needs to be pushed a bit. So, who knows? And Hall's the same way. Columbus for him. Montreal has cap space and they look like they are going to do something too. Colorado, like you said, he wants to win. So if he could go to Colorado on a short-term big money deal before McKinnon's up in a couple of years, then maybe.
I would love to see Colorado make a push for it, but he just doesn't move the needle for me, man. Watching him with Arizona, he wasn't the difference maker that you hoped he was. He wasn't a guy who was able to provide offense unless he was getting gifts. And so I get it. He's got some offensive value clearly, but this isn't a guy that I'm willing to break the bank on. If I can get him on a friendly deal, okay, let's talk. But there's a reason Arizona has no interest in re-signing him at a deal that's going to actually cost them out of their wallet more than it's going to benefit them.
Yeah, like Mike Hoffman had 7 more points than him in 4 more games, including 14 more goals. Like, yeah. I don't think that Taylor Hall is like that much better than Mike Hoffman. I think if you were to put Taylor Hall on his own line with 2 guys who aren't that good, I think that's his best spot. But I think if you put Hoffman with, like, for example, a Drysdale or McDavid, whatever, then that's going to click because, as the scout once said, Taylor Hall's an independent contractor.
Well, you already brought up Hoffman, and Hoffman is one of the 2 guys on my trade board or free agent board here who I don't have a prediction for because I don't know who wants him. He's obviously had his off-ice issues. That's well known. But he's also a guy who can still score. He can still put up some points. And I wonder if you can get him for less than 5. I don't even know what his current deal is right now. But that's the thing is, I didn't watch enough of him in Florida. But he still seems like a guy who can put the puck in the net. It kind of just comes down to situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, he can score. You probably won't always be happy with the effort or the two-way game, but you get paid to score, and he's one of the best goal scorers in the league. Like, you remember that goal McDavid scored against Ottawa a couple of years ago where he swung a stick at him and then did a 360, and like Hoffman was just flat-footed and just like he didn't want to be there. Like,
I don't remember.
But, yeah, it was bad, but you get paid for goals, and somebody's going to pay him, I think.
That's fair. That's an interesting one. He's kind of in the same boat. I don't want to compare him to that Evgeny Dadonov kid, but like I feel like he's maybe a cheaper option for what he provides. Like everyone talks about this Dadonov's upside, and it just doesn't make sense why Florida wouldn't want to keep him around then.
Yeah, and I think that they're saying that they still might, but everybody's like, yeah, they might circle back on this guy, and that guy. So who knows? I don't know why Bobby Ryan's signing in Detroit, but that screams trade me a third-round pick at the deadline for him.
Wow, okay, so we got more breaking news that Bobby Ryan in Detroit, did they give any term or deal on it?
1 year, $1 million.
1 year, that's not, man. You're telling me no one else was offering Bobby Ryan 1 year, $1 million?
Maybe he just wants to play a lot. Like he's going from Ottawa to Detroit. Like he's switching the two worst teams in the league.
Yeah, that sucks. Also, Malcolm Subban. I've got this later on, but I want to bring it up right now. What is Chicago doing? I mean, I get it. Corey Crawford is not the goaltender he was 5-8 years ago. But you're going to run into the season with Subban, Delia, and Lankinen? Like, it doesn't make sense. They got that Matt Tompkins in the American League, who I think is a very good American League goaltender who might transition into a 1B in the NHL one day. But, like, what are they doing? You have a team who, although they probably shouldn't have been in playoffs last year, you have a team who has a shot. You're either... I don't know. You've got Taves, you got Kane, you got Keith, you got Seabrook. You're either in right now or you're selling the farm. And they are sitting on the fence. And I don't know. It's kind of a joke right now, but isn't that just kind of the Stan Bowman way? Stan Bowman, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Don't want to sound stupid.
I don't know. It seems like that they're in danger of being stuck in the limbo land that the Sharks and Kings were all stuck in a couple of years, or now where it's your top guys aren't getting younger and they're still good players, but you can't round out the rest of your roster. And I mean, they're just kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere because they weren't a playoff team this year, or they wouldn't have been, and they don't have really a starting goalie. They don't really have a number, like what's Keith now, a 3.
Yeah.
They don't have a 1 or 2 defensemen, and then
They let Slater Cuckoo go. I mean, he was one of their best defensemen in playoffs. The guy was a stud. I don't know what went wrong there, but that's pathetic.
Yeah, so they just... I really don't know what to think of them.
They're an absolute joke. It's what to think of them. And it's sad for a franchise like that. And especially, you just got Kubalik at 2 years for $3.7 million. 2 years, $3.7 million per. I mean... Kubalik is a top-line forward on any team in the NHL. Adam, $3.7 million per year. It's unbelievable, that deal. Like, this kid's an absolute stud. He can do it all. He can shoot. He can skate. He can handle the puck. He's hard to knock off the puck. He's got hockey IQ. He comes back and battles in the defensive zone. I don't know. I just feel like this is a team who is aiming for mediocrity, which is sad because when Chicago's good, the league's fun. Chicago is, Adam, you got to agree with me here. I mean, whether you're a Hawks fan or not, Chicago's one of the coolest markets in the NHL.
Yeah, especially come playoff time.
Okay, well, we are 20 minutes in and we have hardly touched on the goalies. So let's rapid fire through a few, I guess. I'm just going to give you a name. I want you to let me know where you think they're going to end up. Toffoli.
I think he goes somewhere on the West Coast. I think he goes back to Vancouver when they don't get Markstrom.
Really? I think Boston. I've heard a lot of rumblings on that. Markstrom.
It seems Edmonton's the only one who's going to give him a 7-year deal, so Edmonton.
Yeah, they're going to have to dish off Koskinen for sure if that happens. Brody. I think he stays in Calgary.
Yeah.
I think he stays in Calgary. Ilya Kovalchuk.
I think he goes back to Montreal, honestly.
I agree. I think that was a fine fit for him there. If yeah, if not, I guess I don't know. Do you think a team like Dallas might see a little bit of offensive upside in him? I don't know. Tyson Berry.
Um, I mean, Edmonton would make a lot of sense for a guy like that, but if they get Markstrom, I'll just say Edmonton for the hell of it.
If Vancouver's kicking tires on defensemen, I don't know why they wouldn't kick tires on Tyson Berry. I think he's from around there. I do believe. I could be way off, but I think he is a BC kid. Anton Hudobin.
That's a tough who he's not a starter though. That's the thing. Maybe like the Islanders or something.
The Islanders have Sorokin and Varlamov.
Yeah, maybe Chicago. Honestly,
no, I think they're going to stick with young goalies because they're idiots. I honestly think that Carolina's probably your front runner in that mix, and then if not Carolina and Edmonton doesn't get Markstrom, I think the Oilers are going to make a good push for him on a 2-year deal. Where are we at the list? Cam Talbot.
Cam Talbot.
Also, Luke Shed and Pat Maroon, 1-year deals in Tampa Bay.
Yep. Yeah, well, good for them. They want to cut, might as well go back there to Florida.
Good Sasky guy.
Cam Talbot seems like he wants to be paid like a starter. That's his issue, and I think he's like the one guy who's gonna be stuck and doesn't. He's gonna be the guy who signs like a week later because somebody's gonna be desperate for a goalie. So let's go with Minnesota.
I'm thinking Buffalo or Carolina again for Cam Talbot. I think that those maybe he wants to go back out east. I don't know. Grace.
If Edmonton doesn't get Markstrom, I think Price would make sense there.
And get him for cheap. You're going to get him for cheap.
Maybe Price would even go to Dallas or something.
I was thinking Dallas or St. Louis. Those are my two on there. I think that's a solid goaltender you can get for cheap. Corey Crawford.
Just quickly, after literally 3 seconds after he said it, Cam Talbot has interest from Minnesota, Detroit, Dallas, and New Jersey right now. So there you go.
I guess New Jersey makes sense. I totally forgot about them. They're so irrelevant, but
yeah. Corey Crawford. He seems like a Dallas guy, just like a veteran guy. Yeah, Dallas maybe. If he wants to get cheap, he could go to Florida.
I don't know too many people that actually know Corey Crawford as a person, so I don't know how he would like this. And he might, this might be the stupidest comment ever, but would he not be a great backup for Freddie Anderson? That's a perfect 1B in Toronto. If you can get Crawford at... What?
Jack Campbell.
I don't think... I mean, you're going to move Jack Campbell in a heartbeat if you can bring in Corey Crawford at $1.5 million, $2 million. That's without a question, I think. If he wants to get a big payday, he's going to look at a team like New Jersey probably, maybe a Dallas. But also, I mean, Ottinger doesn't look that far away from NHL ready. So if Ben Bishop's healthy, that's hard to believe. But, I think Dallas could be fine with letting Hudobin walk.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they really need him at $3 or $4 million, whatever he's going to ask for.
That's probably fair. Okay, so Hank's going to Washington. That's pretty much confirmed. It's either going to be a 1 by 1.5 or 2 by 1.5. I've seen both kind of reported around. So clearly Holtby's the odd man out there. Braden Holtby. I think this is our last big ticket on the goalie market. Where does he end up?
One of the 3 Western teams, whoever strikes out with the goalies.
So Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver?
to say Vancouver.
Really? That's interesting. Corey Schneider, there was a lot of rumblings about him. A lot of people saying, hey, if he's going to take a 1-year deal, and I don't know. Like, it's not like Schneider's been good or anything. Like, he hasn't won a game in New Jersey in ages. But, like, he had some success there. If he can go there and be a good mentor for Demko on a 1 or 2 year basis for very cheap, maybe league minimum, would it not make sense?
That makes sense, but you know where else would make sense? Vegas. Like, if Vegas gets rid of Fleury, then Corey Schneider could be a good backup to Leonard.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. But then they got to get rid of Fleury, and Fleury's got to go somewhere. I don't know. There's so many moving parts. Alrighty, we got to take a break here. We've gone through so many. We're going to come back, talk maybe a little bit of RFAs, some draft steals, much, much more. Alrighty, this is World Hockey Report coming to you live, 12-ounce Sports Lingo TV, channel 761.
Verbero did a lot of great things before I arrived as the brand owner. And one of the things they did incredibly well was create this carbon fiber skate. There were some perceived deficiencies from my end, aesthetically and maybe even functionally. The comfort roll edge up on top, softening that material, changing the interior liner to make it a better performing and faster drying liner. We worked to make the skate function better as well by changing the carbon fiber to a Japanese grade carbon fiber that actually relieved about 30% of the carbon fiber weight of the skate. So we added an increase in not only the performance of the skate because of making it lighter, but we are actually getting more flex in the skate because of the quality of the carbon fiber that we altered out.
Try on a pair of skates. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, you pick this product up, it's as good, if not better, than any of the top-end product that's out there in the marketplace.
The Mercury skate became incredibly comfortable, and it became more durable, and it also performed better by being able to interact with the foot a lot better through the skating stride. Verbero is living proof of what a skate should cost, a high-end skate with the most advanced materials and construction, right? So if people understand that this is what a skate should cost, eventually they should understand that they shouldn't buy the competitor's skate.
Hold the mask, pinch the nose, gives you a nice fresh air vent, covers the whole chin, or if you're gonna go get a haircut, you can wrap it around your neck, like so.
Hockey Report live Friday, October 9th. Great White North 1031 local time. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Free Agent Frenzy. I don't know, that might be trademarked by TSN, Sportsnet, whatever. We're going to talk about it because there are so many moves going on. Bobby Ryan, though, I love that one. Going to Detroit, 1 year, $1 million deal. I think that he's going to be playing a big role there the more that I think about it. Because I'm like, why? Who would have offered? Like, anyone would have gave him $1 million. But you know what? I think for his sake, I think he wants to be a top line forward. I think he wants to play with Dylan Larkin. We'll see if he got the boots to do so. Radko Gudas, he is off to Florida. Mott, 2-year deal worth $2.4 million in Vancouver. Adam Ermtrout still with us here on the show this morning. and, kind of kicking some of those tires on, restricted guys right now. Jarmo Kekalainen has to have something up his sleeve, right? Like, you've got Barzal and Cirelli, who you can throw an offer sheet at, and you can make a fair pitch for them.
Yeah, I mean, they were sniffing around Marner last year, I remember, but Marner wasn't going to give them the full 7 years. I think he wanted a deal that would walk him right to UFA. But yeah, Jarmo he's on his own timeline, I think, like with him trading for Duchesne and Dzingel a couple years ago and going for it in the playoffs, and then he offered Panarin a big contract and let Bobrovsky walk, and then he took that Yegor Chinnikov kid in the first round this year, so he's got some stones.
That's stones, to say the least. If you're throwing an offer sheet at Barzal, though, what are you chucking his way? What do you think that he might sign?
Probably like a 6 or 7, or maybe like a 5 or 6 at like 9.5.
That's pretty fair. Does that cost you three? Is that
him and like the type of player he is? It seems like he would want a bridge deal to bet on himself.
Does that cost you 3 first-round picks then? I believe. I think it's 3. But do you know off the top of your head?
The highest one is 4.
4. Yeah. But I think 4 is like over 10 million. I
think it's a first, 2 firsts, a second, and a third, I want to say.
I think that's about right. What about Anthony Cirelli down in Tampa? I mean, this kid was a stud. He was just an absolute firecracker on the forecheck. Love watching him. Can score clutch goals. Like, I believe if you offer him under 6.5, that only costs you like a second-round pick, maybe a first. So, like, why wouldn't you try to throw 6.5 at him?
Yeah, maybe. My only thing with him is, like, he's got it so good in Tampa right now that if, like, this is I'm trying to find a comparison here.
But he's young and he's got his cup.
Yeah, he's placed perfectly in Tampa right now that if you go and you're a team like, let's say Montreal, for example, and you try to make him your top-line center, you're going to be disappointed because he's not a top-line center. And I think that's the issue with teams, is that they would try to offer sheet him expecting him to be a top-line center, but in Tampa, he's a shutdown centerman who can produce some offense, but I don't think his ceiling is where you'd expect for a top-line guy.
I don't know. I don't think that calls him a top-line guy if you're giving him 5 or 6. I think you'd take him on your team over Paul Stastny any day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. It's just like the compensation where it's like, do you really want to give up a first and a second for a second line center? Maybe like I don't know. Gudas to Florida is 3 by 2.5.
It's a good deal. I still like Gudas. I still think that his style of game has value. He's mean. He's an absolute prick to play against, and I love that.
Yeah, and it seemed like Florida, Quenneville hated their team last year, and that they needed to get a lot better and tougher. And I mean, Gudas and Nudavara and Hornqvist should do the trick for him.
Coyotes are making some big splashes here. Looks like they're close with Tyler Pitlick and John Hayden. What an organization! What an organization! I don't even. Yeah, Gudas 3 by 2.5 right there. All right, let's go back to the draft. Give me a couple of picks who you think were steals. Who do you think you're kind of like, wow, they slid down. Those are really good picks. I know you lost a ton of money because you didn't listen to me and you kind of bet with your heart, not your brain, like me. But who do you think were some draft steals?
I think I really like Anaheim taking Jamie Drysdale. I thought he was the best defenseman in the draft, and I mean, him over Ottawa, I didn't really get. Braden Schneider at 19 to the Rangers. I think he's a not a Gudis type, but he's a big right shot two-way defenseman who they don't exactly grow on trees. And then Washington taking that Hendrix Leperrier or whatever his name is. I mean, top 10 talent, injury problems. He was back this year, and I think he had like 8 points in 4 games or something. So he's back this year and playing. I want to give credit to Calgary. They traded down twice and got 2 third-round picks where they went after, like, they traded thirds for Gustafson and Forbert, and then they're able to keep those back by moving down 4 spots, which in hindsight made no sense what Columbus did. But they definitely could have traded down for that kid.
Trade down to the 7th round.
Credit to Yarmo. I mean, he knew what he wanted. He took the kid, Chenikov, like that's what he wanted. They said they had him in the top 10, but like just trade down and get like a 3rd round pick or something, even if it's just a couple spots. Just you could do something. But I mean, credit to him. He knows what he wants.
Okay, quick rant here because I mean this was blowing up Twitter, and I know we or I got involved. Whatever is if you are calling out, the best play-by-play announcers, the best radio play-by-play announcer in all of Canada, and I mean one of the best TV guys, the Islanders guy there, and if you're calling them xenophobic, whatever, for making a joke and having to pronounce some of these Russian names, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's the type of people I don't want covering hockey. I just, if you've got an issue with it, I don't know. One, take it up with them in person. Don't make a big deal of it because you got attention. Like, every play-by-play person's thinking the exact same thing. It's just not a fight or not a battle to pick. It doesn't make sense. It's so clownish. It's so stupid. Like, they have nothing to do with where they're coming from. If that's a Canadian with that same name, they're making the exact same joke. And I think anyone who's done play-by-play can agree where, hey, I'm calling games between Serbia and Hong Kong last year. I'm talking about pronouncers with the team and stuff. And they're just laughing. They're like, oh, you're not going to get it anyways. Like, it's all good. Just go with this. Like, they're not offended. They're not thinking, oh, Cody, you're xenophobic because you're not going to pronounce every single one of their names perfectly. And, I mean, they're laughing about it. I can laugh about it. I think that was a way big of a deal. And so that was a little bit of a frustrating one. Also, former guest of the show, Ian Moran, with a hot take on Spit and Chicklets, saying that Askarov could have been a top 3 guy or a top couple of pick guy. I don't know what Nashville's doing. I mean, you've got one of the best goaltending prospects in the American Hockey League. You have a guy almost ready to take over, Pekka Rinne and Jussi Saros, and you've got a perfect 1B or starting NHL backup in your pipeline, and now's the time you're going after Askarov? I don't know. I'm still not sold on him. I still don't think that righties are quality NHL starters. I think there's something about it. Yeah, you can ask any shooter, and they'll say the exact same thing. Is that with the majority of NHLers, I still believe it's close to like 65-70% being left-handed shots. There's something about it where they just, they're able to score on righties better. And that's why Jonas Hiller has been the best righty since, I don't know, Grant Fuhr, Tom Barrasso. Something like that. I know I had a list earlier. Adam, give me your thoughts on Nashville. I know you don't want to dive too deep into it, but I got to know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it made a lot of sense for Ottawa or, I mean, the Devils or Wild, but Nashville, and the thing is, like, obviously, I think that what they had the guy who almost won Goalie of the Year in the American League, and he's a couple years older than him too, so maybe you have a tandem. I don't know, but at the same time, Nashville's very thin on forward prospects. They're very thin on D prospects. They're paying a lot of money to guys who don't really provide much to them. They just bought out Kyle Turris. If they were,
their core of players sucks, and they did nothing to help it. Like, if you watched them in playoffs, their defense, aside from Roman Josi, are nowhere near good enough to be an NHL playoff team. Their forwards, don't even get me started there. Like, Duchesne is checked out. checked out, cashing those checks, just keeps refreshing the Scotiabank app. You know, there's nothing going on with Nashville that gives you any hope. And so it was just such a weird pick.
Yeah, Carter Verhaeghe just signed a 2-year deal in Florida also, so he's going across the state.
Yeah, John Merrill to Detroit, 1 year. Decent depth.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because they have $60 million tied up in two underachieving centers, and I mean they spent big under Shane last year, and that must have meant that they thought they were close to making an impact. But if you draft a goalie who's four years away, then it doesn't really make sense why. They're once again Chicago, whatever. Like, you're getting stuck in we kind of want to win, but we also kind of want to tank, and it's a weird spot they're in.
Yeah, no, they're turning into the new Minnesota. They're turning into this whole team who's just in La La Land. I mean, we've talked enough about Poile and, you know, what has happened there. It's a weird situation. I don't understand it. I don't understand the direction that team's trying to go. Just a little clueless there. My steals of the draft, though, going back to that, I thought getting that J.J. Peterka kid at number 34 was a great pick by Buffalo. I still think he's got a ton of offensive upside. I put him right up there with that Lucas Reichel kid. I mean, I thought at World Juniors, you know, they were very similar in a sense of, I thought Peterka should have been a first rounder as well. I mean, there should have been 3 Germans that had gone. Maybe people shied away because they thought that Stützle did a little bit too much for him. I still think that they were huge. You know, when I think of that power play, I think of the Germans zipping it around on teams like the Americans, the Russians. You know, they made them look stupid. The German power play was so elite, it's not even funny. And that's on the World Juniors. That's at an incredible high stage of hockey. So I think Peterka at number 34 is good. Also, I was shocked to see Nico Dawes drop so far. So New Jersey getting him at number 84, I think that's a good goaltending prospect to put in your system. I mean, I'm not saying that he is a few years away, but like, you know, that's a solid guy who one day I feel can contend as a competent NHL backup.
Who's that? Sorry.
Oh, nice. Good paying attention there. Nico Dawes. I thought at number 84, I thought that was a great pick by the Devils.
Yeah, and he was ranked. I thought he was ranked the top North American goalie, and he went behind a couple of guys like that. Drew Commesso went to Chicago in the second round, and then another Euro went ahead of him. But obviously, a lot of guys read too much into the World Juniors these days, and he obviously didn't have a great one, but.
He was still he was a draft eligible at the World Juniors. Neither did Askarov.
Yeah, and Askarov, who knows? I mean, he's big, and he had a really good season in Guelph, so should be able to pan out. They got Blackwood there also, so there's some stuff in New Jersey in the pipeline. Also,
according to Andy Strickland, the Blues, if they lose Alex Pietrangelo, they're going after T.J. Brody and Torrey Krug. That's kind of who he thinks they'll go after. I think the more rumors, I don't know, are people not that interested in Pietrangelo anymore?
No, I think they are. I think that there's just a lot of teams juggling money around right now.
It's an interesting one. We are going to have to pay attention to that. As always, we got to get to commercial break here. We are way overdue. Adam, thank you as always. Breaking it down. Monday is going to be a big show because we're going over a lot of these free agents. And then after that, we're taking a break. It's been a great season. We love all the support. But yes, we need a break. We need a break from the grind. We're going to be banking some unbelievable interviews. Can't wait for those. There's going to be some great ones coming up. We're talking gold medalist, Team Canada legends coming up on this show. Alrighty, Adam, thank you once again.
So,
off to commercial break. It's World Hockey Report Live, coming to you on 12-ounce Sports Zingo TV, channel 761s. We're going to open the phone lines after this.
Verbero did a lot of great things before I arrived as the brand owner. And one of the things they did incredibly well was create this carbon fiber skate. There were some perceived deficiencies from my end, aesthetically and maybe even functionally. The comfort roll edge up on top, softening that material, changing the interior liner to make it a better performing and faster drying liner. We worked to make the skate function better as well by changing the carbon fiber to a Japanese grade carbon fiber that actually relieved about 30% of the carbon fiber weight of the skate. So we added an increase in not only the performance of the skate because of making it lighter, but we are actually getting more flex in the skate because of the quality of the carbon fiber that we altered out.
Try on a pair of skates. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, you pick this product up, it's as good, if not better, than any of the top end product that's out there in the marketplace.
The Mercury skate became incredibly comfortable and it became more durable, and it also performed better by being able to interact with the foot a lot better through the skating stride. Verbero is living proof of what a skate should cost, a high-end skate with the most advanced materials and construction, right? So if people understand that this is what a skate should cost, eventually they should understand that they shouldn't buy the competitor's skate.
Pull the mask, pinch the nose, gives you a nice fresh air vent, covers the whole chin, or if you're gonna go get a haircut, and wrap it around your neck, like so.
World Hockey Report Live, Cody Jansen with you here on 12 Ounce Sports. We are talking hockey. Thanks to our good friends Coco Vodka, Coco Rum. Blow up those phone lines. Call in now, 306-750-7524. Let's talk hockey. I don't care. I'll talk anything. I mean, let us know. Do you want to talk free agency? Are you happy with your team? Are you pissed off at your team? Do you want to talk about the NHL draft? Did your team do something stupid that you're not happy about? Give us a call now. 306-750-7524. Who's this calling in?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? It's Chris Mancuso. What's happening?
Tarps off hockey's finest. Chris, what are you thinking? What's up with the Bees right now?
Buddy, the Bees are quiet. I don't even know if they understand that this thing's open yet. I mean, maybe Don Sweeney forgot to roll his clock back. I don't know what happened. Something's going on there. They're very quiet right now. No, I think that they're going to be after a free agent forward. If I were them, I would pitch on Taylor Hall and just figure it out, but I don't see them doing that. I think that it'll be more like an Evgeny Dadonov or Tyler Toffoli situation, or hopefully not Craig Smith, but I've heard Craig Smith.
Are you pissed off that they didn't get OEL?
I'm not pissed that they didn't get OEL because, I mean, with a monster contract like that in 7 years to go, it was always going to be like, how much are you really willing to give up and how much space can they really put into their back end? And, you know, but I don't know necessarily that if Boston loses Torrey Krug here and they don't get anybody that they find of value, if they circle back to Arizona, are you going to tell me that now OEL won't go to Boston and leave that dumpster fire in the desert? He would 100%. I think that they know that too, so they weren't really willing to budge on their thing, but we'll see how the day plays out, or maybe even the next 2 days, and see if they can't get something done to replace Torrey Krug. If he is indeed not coming back, I don't know though. I don't know how I feel about that. I could see him getting the case of the afraid to leave.
Tuukka Rask, does he retire or what? Is he going to be a Bruin? I have no clue.
He said he wants to play a couple more years. He did an interview with, I think it was Conroy, a guy who's a writer in Boston, and I think it's for the Herald. Don't quote me on that. I'm not good with the mainstream media all the time. It was the Boston Herald. And he said, I want to play a couple more years, and I don't want to play anywhere else but Boston. So we'll see, though. I don't know. Is the next season going to be a bubble situation? We all know he didn't handle that very well. So
That's very true.
We'll see. How's everything out there, buddy? You at the station today?
Hey, doing great. Later on today. Yeah, we're set up home office right now, talking hockey. Hey, you guys do a ton of blogs and everything there. I know you jump in on the goalie stuff. Interesting development with Corey Crawford. This is a guy who's got some cup rings, got a lot of experience. Do you see him getting picked up?
Yeah, Corey Crawford. I think there's definitely a market for Corey Crawford out there, but I think maybe he overvalued the money that he's going to get there. It's such there's so many. Have you ever seen a year where there's that many available goalies that can play NHL minutes?
No, it's wild. I'm telling you, I love this whole free agent market right now. It's insane what these teams are doing.
Between Holtby and Markstrom, there's the Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, just the Western Canadian teams. They're all in there trying to make stuff happen. So I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to come away with a goalie today. I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to pull off Markstrom. I don't know why. I got this feeling, buddy. I don't know why.
I think Bob McKenzie said that. What would you offer him?
What would I offer Markstrom? You know what? Probably a 6 and 6, maybe. I think it's more about term for him because, the Vancouver Canucks have Thatcher Demko. And I think that's something that, a guy who's going to eventually push for that starting role, would they be better served to invest in that money in the number one defenseman like OEL or someone like that, and maybe go ahead and take an Anton Hudobin to kind of watch Thatcher Demko's back, a guy who can easily give you 30 good starts a season. I think that might make sense for them and not have to put so much money into a guy like Markstrom.
I totally agree. I thought Thatcher Demko was the guy of the future. I said it even before he got his little playoff run. Vancouver media, some people were laughing at it. Some people liked it too. I think it all paid off. Markstrom's 30 years old, and he doesn't have that much of quality starter experience. He's only had a couple of solid years. So I don't know what makes him worth 6x6 at this point. I wouldn't give it to him. The Oilers, who knows? I think Ken Holland's smarter than that, but who knows?
I could even see a $5 million deal on as long as the terms there, I think that they'll be able to figure that out. I really do. I think that's something that I think will matter more to Markstrom is just locking up some terms, especially during these uncertain times. It's my kid's birthday today. He's 1. He's all fired up.
Oh, happy birthday, Chris. I'll let you go. We got to get the phone lines rolling here.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
For having me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao.
Chris, call it in. He thinks the Oilers are front runners for Jacob Markstrom. Are you happy with it? I don't know. Jack, what do you think? Let us know, Matt. Hey, we see you guys watching. Give us a call. Don't be afraid. We got a couple more minutes here. Let's talk hockey. Are you happy with your team's draft? I think Nico Daws at 84 is a steal. I think Peterka at 34 is a steal. Am I giving Buffalo and New Jersey credit? Yes, I am. It'll be interesting. Of course, it is NHL free agent day. There's tons of news on the way. Andy Strickland thinking Torrey Kruger, TJ Brody could be in. If they don't get OEL, that'll be interesting. Officially done now, 1 year, $1.5 million for Hank with the Capitals. That's a great pick. But what happens if Samsonov doesn't pan out? What do you do there? I don't know who else they got in their goaltending prospect, but they're going to be screwed. I don't think Samsonov has played 50 NHL games. Are you that comfortable with this guy? I just feel like that's a tiny sample size. It's basically the risk that Vancouver's taking with Demko in a sense. I don't know. I still think Lundqvist is a great 1B option, and obviously he wasn't playing behind the best team in New York. But it will be interesting. Will be interesting to see who gets moved around. Some good peaches. Peter Angelo, though. Like, is Toronto serious about this? Are they going to be able to find room? Like, obviously, I think Barrie is leaving there. That's a given. That's got to be, one that you can bank on. Be interested to see where Hall ends up. I feel like Columbus wants to find a way. They brought in Max Domi. They got that little spark plug. Now Taylor Hall could add a little bit more goal scoring ability. Maybe plug him in with a Pierre-Luc Dubois. Not a terrible look for Columbus. I also think that with their cap space, they can still make some moves and bring in another guy. I mean, there's a lot of good defensemen on the market right now. If you can convince a Torrey Krug to sign in Columbus, boom, good puck mover. I don't think Peter Angelo, although if you do get him, I mean, imagine that 1-2 with him and Seth Jones. That's a joke at this point. Nonetheless, thank you once again to everyone who's a part of the show. Adam Ermantrout. Hey, Chris, just give us a call here. We don't have time for any more calls, so we're going to have to wrap this thing up. On 12 Ounce Sports Zingo TV, channel 761, I believe Talkman is coming up tonight. Great fantasy football talk right there. Boys, keep it locked. On Twitter, at World Hockey RPT. We're on Facebook as well, World Hockey Report. That's where you're going to find all the latest breaking news. Well, the big news. I mean, hey, we're not tweeting out about all these depth guys. That ain't going to happen. We're not going to be the ones breaking every single move. A lot of moves? Yes. Ottawa's goaltending situation? Close. Hey, it happens. We're going to move on. That's it. That does it for us. We're back here on Monday. Same time, same place. World Hockey Report. Cody Jansen with you. 12 Ounce Sports Zingo TV. Until then, everyone, peace out. Be kind. Be better.